Yo, 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 what up, y'all? This is Damian Ellison, host of Elevate. Welcome. This is episode 7, y'all. Can you believe it? And I'm just surprised I got this far. It's not easy to come up with topics every week. But, this is brand new stuff, so I'm here for it. I can dig it. So, look, I'm going to try something a little new, a little different. I'm going to start with a little fun fact. The hashtag symbol is technically called an octothorpe. Octothorpe. According to the Merriam-Webster dictionary, the octo prefix refers to the 8 points on the popular symbol, but the thorpe remains a mystery. One theory claims that it comes from the Old English word for village, based on the idea that the symbol looks like a village surrounded by 8 fields. Who would have known that the hashtag or pound sign means octothorpe? Pretty interesting, y'all. Well, looky. We are going to talk about something a little heavy, but it doesn't have to be, but a little heavy. I want to talk about finding yourself again after painful experiences. I often wonder why life presents challenges and we have to endure very hard, traumatic experiences or painful experiences. I'm not a stranger to painful experiences. And I don't think any of us are. I often wonder, though, why do we have to endure pain? Why do we have to endure suffering? Why do we have to hurt? Why can't life just be joyful? Flowers, sunlight, blue oceans, blue skies. I wish life was just a bouquet of roses or something. You know what I mean? But I'm realizing as I'm getting older that I cannot escape painful experiences. We cannot escape them. I think that it helps us grow. The painful experiences help us grow. Or the painful experiences might not do anything. We might just be left with a stamp of pain that never goes away, such as like death in the family. So, I don't know. I just want to talk about just how do we find ourselves after painful experiences. But you see, finding yourself will require you to know who you are first. And me finding myself is an ongoing journey. Me figuring out who I am has been a long road. And I'm actually enjoying that road. And what I find pretty interesting is that after I've had recent painful experiences in the last few years of my life, after that experience, I am starting to recognize that I'm starting to recognize who I am. I'm starting to recognize who Damien is and what that really means to me. And I, quite frankly, am enjoying it. I'm enjoying discovering who I am. I'm also recognizing the negative stuff about me and how that needs to leave so I can be a better person for myself, so I can be a better person for the people that I am in relationship with. One thing I can say that I've encountered after having a painful experience is anger. Now, interestingly enough, anger has always been a thing for me that I have tried my best to overcome. But when you couple the anger with talking in a way that's not so healthy, like cussing, swear words, that ain't cool. But I found that the painful experience that I endured made me mad. And so, I didn't even need a trigger to cuss. it was just like, this is just how I feel. And, and so I'm gonna cuss. And so I think it came out of like, well, the experience that I endured, it made me not care. And it was almost like what I walked through and who I was hurt by didn't care about what they did and how what they did affected me. And so it made me not care about how I talked to people or how I just expressed myself. Now, I don't know. People might say swearing is healthy, cussing is healthy. Eh, it feel good if that's what they mean by it, by the need to express themselves in that way being a good thing. I mean, it feels good, yes, but I don't know. Like, I still kind of struggle with that every now and then, like using cuss words versus not using cuss words. And I know that as a believer, some people might admit to doing it. Some people might let it slip up and then it's like, oh, they're canceled or whatever. But I'm not afraid to admit that that's a problem spot for me. I'm not about to sit here and try to hide myself because it's a taboo thing to talk about, like drinking or tattoos as Christians, whatever. I'm not about to sit here on Front Street and act like I don't have issues because I think we all do. But yeah, man, being angry and cussing, that's been a whole thing that I've been purposely trying to become better at because I didn't grow up so my dad raised me. My mom wasn't in my life for part of my life in childhood. So my dad raised me for that time that she wasn't there. And so like my dad raised me to not do that, just to not express yourself in that way. Because I grew up I grew up in church, raised in church, basically. Religious, probably, if I look back, but yeah, raised in church, raised not to do that. And so I actually never heard my dad cuss at all. So that was pretty cool. Just, I don't know. And so I think that I probably have to ask him, but I think I can tell by the way he raised me that there was a standard that he wanted to raise me with. And that standard was rooted in his faith. That standard was rooted in the church. That standard was rooted in what the Bible teaches us about how to live. That I can say for sure. And so I've carried that on throughout my life, just trying to follow Jesus and do what the scriptures say and be the best Jesus follower I can with Jesus' help. Because we can do all things through Christ and Christ is strong when we're weak. When we have weak moments. So that's just one thing I think is a thing. But I'm also recognizing to be a little less uptight. I've always been a serious person. Always been serious. I remember being serious in my preteens, and I'm still pretty serious today. I honestly don't know why I'm so serious. But after enduring hurtful things, painful things, whether it's with church or whether it's marriage or whether it's with my job or other things that I've had to endure, I'm like, you know what? First of all, life is too short to be angry all the time. So we ain't doing that. Number two, I got kids, and my kids are learning from me and my wife as to how to live, how to conduct themselves. So they see their dad always uptight and just can't laugh a little, can't dance a little, can't smile, has an attitude, a nasty attitude all the time. What spouse wants to come home to that? What child wants to have their dad just be negative Nancy all the time? No. So my wife and my kids have taught me how to be less uptight, more joyful. Because kids, man, kids don't have a care in the world. They might call your name daddy, 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 daddy. And all they want is what they want at that moment. And then they're good, And so like, that's the one thing I love is just, even though it can be a little annoying with the daddy, daddy, daddy all the time. I recognize when you just oblige them and just, see what they need, see what they want, and they're good. You give them what they need, what they want. They're good. They're going on about their business. But to be uptight, it just doesn't make for a pleasant demeanor. I've watched people walk towards me, look at my face, and turn the other direction because of the facial expression on my face. And, I need to work on that, I'm sure, but I guess it's just emotion coming out through my face. But anywho, yeah, being less uptight is a thing because life is too short to just always be rigid and no flexibility, no fun. Who wants to do that? So like just learning how to have some fun and dance around in the living room or just being a goofball. That's always pretty fun. And so I don't know, man, like the pain that I've endured makes me want to enjoy life more. Now I can't escape the pain that comes because we don't know in what form it's going to come through. Don't know if it's going to come through a person or a circumstance or, whatever. I can't control that, but I can control my reaction to it. And I think that it's okay to sit in your emotion when painful things happen and cry and, whatever your reaction is, it's cool response is to the pain. It's probably natural, yes. But I think that afterwards, after you've sat in the emotions and processed it and all of that, get back to enjoying life again. I'm realizing that we can't go through life and never enjoy it. I spent a lot of my 20s and 30s too, yep, early 30s in school, undergraduate school, graduate school. And the other side of that was church life, ministry serving on a volunteer basis. And then the other part of that was work, just to, fund stuff, pay bills. And all of that ministry serving was okay. It wasn't always fun, hard work. Um, Work is always just work. School was fun, but it's hard work to get a degree. It's hard work to study and read and write essays and listen to lectures and read a bunch of books. And oh my goodness, by the time I was done getting my master's, I was like, I don't want to read another book. I don't want to read another word. But I never actually stopped to enjoy or celebrate the victory of getting undergraduate degree, master's degree one, master's degree number two. And you might think, well, Damien, is school painful? It could be, maybe, but the hard work that comes from getting educated, that can be painful, I think. Painful in the sense like, yo, my brain hurt, I don't want to read no more. Or just like the diligence, the hard work, the resilience you have if you get an F. You might change majors and think you're a failure, like how I changed majors like 2 or 3 times and decided to major in something totally different. I did not feel like a failure. I just felt like I was finding what I wanted to do in life. So, but yeah, like the hard work that comes with getting that degree, I'm sure it might come with a bit of pain, sweat, blood, and tears, that type of stuff, right? But I never actually took the time to celebrate the wins. I didn't go on vacation. I didn't even go to my third graduation, which is crazy. But I was like, okay, yeah, Damien, you accomplished that. But I didn't really like go on vacation or like have a dinner or whatever. It's just like, oh, okay. He graduated, yay. And that was kind of it, But yeah, like I'm learning to like, well, let me celebrate. Let me stop to smell the roses. Let me celebrate life. Let me celebrate the victories in life. That's important. Yeah, it's very important to celebrate victories. I'm learning that just after accomplishments too. Yeah. So, one of the things that I've been evaluating, like I said earlier, was just my emotions after pain. But I think also experiencing death in the family has been really hard. And I I made it a point to not like wallow or like kind of like sit. I know I said to sit earlier, right, in your pain, but grief is a different type of pain that I don't think any of us wants to really sit in. But I also realized that's the type of pain that actually doesn't go away. Like, I can grieve in spurts. It comes and goes, and I'm actually okay with that. Now, okay with that because I okay with that in the sense that I know it's probably not gonna go away. But I know I have to pick myself up and keep life moving, keep life going. But death, man, when I lost my grandma, that was very hard because it was tied to the death of my daughter. My wife and I were expecting a baby girl in 2023. My wife went in to sign the paperwork for a C-section and they found a heartbeat. And my wife called me while I was at work and said, "Hey, they didn't find a heartbeat." I was like, "What?" Just to hear her sadness on the other side of the phone, and to be in the car talking to the doctor and just everything that was going on, I was like, "This cannot be true. This cannot be happening." You know. But then 2 days later, to have my grandmother die, I was like, this is too much. I cannot take this. This is too much. I felt like I lost my legacy on one side and my history on the other. And I was like, yo, like, how am I going to get through this? I had lost my grandfather 2 years before these two deaths happened together. So to lose all three, within a relatively short period of time, grandfather first, about a year and a half, and then my grandmother and my daughter 2 days apart, that was like the worst. And did I find myself afterwards? I think I found a new level of, okay, this is how you live with pain. This is how you live with grief. Um, and I think instead of finding myself, I think that there was a new piece added to who I am now. And that is just being able to live with something that will never go away. That loss is always going to be visible in my life. You no longer see pictures of my grandmother. I no longer can talk to her on a regular basis like I did. My daughter's loss is evident in our family. She's not there and she was supposed to be there. But I thank the Lord, like my faith, to be quite honest, I don't even know my faith brought me through because I was so numb to the reality of them not being here. I don't even know if it was a faith thing as much as it was just I just got to figure out how to live. I mean, I don't know what people say to people who are grieving because there's nothing you can say that can make it better. If you can't bring the person back, don't talk to me. That's how I feel. And so, and I mean, I know it's a little harsh, but it's like everyone processes the grief differently. People would say, "Oh, to be quite honest, I don't even remember what they said." But there was nothing that anyone said that made the grief and loss any better because they were not here. My grandmother was no longer breathing. My daughter never made it out of the womb. Like there's nothing anyone can say. But what I gained from that is just even a bit of mystery, like, okay, God, because I had questions. I was like, why? Especially with my daughter, I was like, she didn't deserve to die. Why is she not here? Did he answer? Maybe he did. He probably did, but, and I won't share, but it still doesn't make any sense as to why they're not here. And when I call it a mystery, living with the mystery, it's like living with the mystery of death. Why do babies die? Or why do good people go home too soon? We might say, or why are there untimely deaths? Even that phrase is kind of weird to me because I'm like, if it's untimely, then why are they gone? It has to be the time, right? I don't know. But it's still a mystery for me as to why a baby has to not make it into the earth, And so that's when I say living with the mystery, living with the pain of her not being here and the pain of the why, you know. But I don't know, man. You just keep on living, keep on living. Living with pain after rejection. Man, I have been rejected a lot. I think a lot of us have. And I have questioned with rejection. Well, am I good enough? Why didn't I not get that position? Or, why was I overlooked and someone else got it? Or why did they choose to go with that person when I'm still here and I'm more than capable of doing the job? And that type of rejection, right? With the workplace. And how I've chosen to conduct myself afterwards. I like I said, there is like the questioning and the insecurity, like, well, am I good enough? Am I capable of doing the job? All of that. But then you realize you weren't meant for that job. So when I came to that realization, like, well, number one, number two, there's probably something a lot better for me than that job that I say I wanted. That was a game changer. Because when I recognized that, oh, that position is not for me, that person is actually specifically tailor-made for that position that I didn't get, I'm like, oh, okay. That's new. That's a new Damien. That's different. But it's good because that means I can prepare myself for whatever God has for me. And that is so freeing. I can fly like an eagle and soar within my lane, in my lane. I can drive in my lane. I can fly in my little section of the sky. I cannot be caged by a position that I thought was meant for me that I didn't get. I let that person stay where they are and I can move on and God can lead me to something better. So, who am I now after rejection? I think that I have discovered a new Damien. What that means is, well, what am I supposed to do, Lord? What am I supposed to do with what you've given me to do, with my gifts? So it leads me to discover a different person, a different Damien that's tailor-made for whatever is up ahead that God sees that I can't see. That for me is brilliant because you're no longer wasting your time chasing something that's not even yours to chase. Isn't that brilliant? You don't have to waste any more time trying to get something that doesn't even belong to you. You can take your time walking away from the rejection and walking into your God-given assignment, your God-given purpose, why God made you, why you're still breathing. What is he going to do with your life? Love it, love it, love it, love it. And I wouldn't change it for anything because I'm going to be a lot more happier. I'm going to be joyful. I'm going to be less snappy. Less angry as to why that didn't work out and why I didn't get that position and why did they over. Nah, I ain't gonna be studying none of that because I am gonna be free to move about within my lane. So finding me, like, after rejection is just great because, again, I ain't gotta waste no time. I can just be me. And guess what? The position is tailor-made for me. It fits me like a glove. Or it will fit me like a glove when I get to that position, whatever it is. Oh, man. So, I can recognize that I'm God's masterpiece. Like, so, me not getting the position, recognize that I'm tailor-fit for something else. And I'm God's unique piece of art fit for a different work, a different role, unattached to what I thought I was supposed to be doing. Great eye opener. Great eye opener. Great game changer for me. One of the other things that I've realized after experiencing pain is what I'm willing to accept and what I'm willing to not accept. So after being in an environment that was toxic for me, I recognize that if I see the same type of toxic person from the previous space in my new space, I'm like, I ain't gonna rock with you. I ain't gonna talk to you like that because I done been there. I done been down that road before. So that's like it helps me to it has helped me to create boundaries. I'll say that boundaries so that I don't let your negative stuff attack and attach yourself to what I got going on. Cause you're not about to be messing with my headspace and, mental health as a whole. I'm not gonna call it a buzzword, but it's a whole thing these days. And so I'm not about to, but I'm realizing how much mental health is a thing and how toxic people can mess up what I got going on in my thoughts and attack my stress level and all of that. So I realize how important mental health actually is. So yeah, like I don't want toxic people affecting what I got going on in my headspace, in my thoughts, telling me that I'm this and I'm that when really you're this and you're that. Like they haven't dealt with their stuff. So don't project your stuff onto me. So it just helps me to create boundaries and what I'm like, who I'm willing to let in my life and who I'm not willing to let in my life. What I'm willing to let in, what I'm not willing to let in. What I'm willing to like grow more in and get better at. And what I know I need to like cut off and like let go. Because one thing about toxic people is they'll hold you hostage and not let you go because whatever they don't have, they have found it in you. And so they feel like they need to hold on to you because they ain't got what you got. So I got to hold you hostage and you got to stay here and you ain't going nowhere because I ain't got what you got. So I'm gonna hold on to what you got and suck you dry. And then you can't even use what you got for you or for whatever God's called you to do. Nope, ain't happening. Not doing it. Those days are over. So what I've learned about toxic people and toxic environments is when I sense it, like if I have to stay in that environment for X amount of time, I will stay. But I will stay clear of toxic people. Now, if it's a toxic environment that I am allowed to let go of and depart from, I am out. I am gone. I'm like, nope, let me go ahead and make a plan and let me go before I stay stuck and not elevate and not grow and not level up. I have zero time to let painful experiences not have me learn something from them, not have me grow something from, like not have me grow. I don't want to be a bitter person. I don't want to be a jealous person. I don't want to be an angry person. I don't want to walk around with my head hanging low, not smiling, just being nasty. Who has time for that? So when I talk about taking up too much energy, being angry and being ticked off all the time or being snappy, I have been that person and I am actively working to not be snappy, to not always be upset or easily irritated because that's not love, right? I am actively working on not yelling, not being overly emotional at like everything pushing my buttons. We ain't doing that. And so the painful experiences have taught me that, yo, Damien, you can't be this Damien anymore. You're going to have to grow up. You're going to have to let it go. You're going to have to let them go, the toxic nature of people, and not let you become the toxic person. That's very important. Let me not become the person that has hurt me. They say hurt people hurt people. I have hurt people. I know I have, the same way people have hurt me. And I hate that. But I know it's a part of life. I know that we will all hurt people. But I also have to recognize, just as much as I have been affected by painful experiences, other people have been affected by the pain that I've inflicted on them. And so how can I change? So one thing I'm recognizing about finding myself in that regard, in regards to me inflicting hurt on someone, is, Damien, how have you hurt someone? So now I start to do a lot of self-reflection. Now I start to do a lot of self-assessment. Let me take a test and let me see, how have I done someone wrong? What have you done to hurt someone, Damien? Let me evaluate and see if I can change how I am towards people so that people are not hurt by me. So that's another aspect of the finding myself and growing and really elevating with how I treat people and how I'm treated, is not just giving boundaries for other people, but let me set up boundaries within myself so that I don't lash out and hurt people. You know what I'm saying? And so we got to make sure that just because we're in pain, or just because we're bitter, or just because our hearts are hardened, it doesn't have to always be like that. Because you got to recognize too, well, wow, Damien, wow, how have I hurt someone? And let me go ahead and get myself together and fix myself up real good so that people are not hurt by me. So, well, that's it for today, y'all. I got nothing else to say about it. I'm going to put a pause right here. I really appreciate y'all tuning in to Elevate. This week's episode was pretty heavy. And so I want to thank you guys for tuning in and taking a listen. Y'all stay tuned for next week's episode. God bless y'all. Peace.